Your me self, universally, our me self, is primarily represented by the structure of the baby. That's the pure me. What I see, sense, but mostly what I see, and maybe hear, and maybe taste, and maybe smell, is my reality. That's what I'm thinking about. That is going to change as we identify more clearly what is our I. What is our I? Which is basically set in adolescence. That's a different structure and a different function of brain as well as body. And then the great truth, which is true of the child, me, the me self. It is true of the identity of what I believe I am based on my past experience and learning. And the trueness of the self, myself, your myself, is not your present only and is not your past. It is also your future if you choose to focus on the possibilities of the possible positive future that you want to have. So, my dear friend Kathy, as in Kathy Brannon, this is the adolescent self of the Kathy Brannon, and the structure is different than the Kathy Brannon which you see, understanding that the Kathy Brannon as a baby had this forehead and this primary occipital area, which meant that she, like all of us, and isn't that a wonderful contrast? She, as all of us, was focused on what she saw and what she thought about based on what she saw and what she felt. This is also true for the Albertine Fawn model, which had, as a little child, this same baby forehead and the same back of the head. So, Albertine, if you will just profile to me directly, look at the back of the head. Is this like the baby head, where there is the extreme visual primary center, the back of the skull? And the answer is no. So what has happened to Albertine as she went through the me structure of the baby, which is her genetic heritage as a human being, up to now? Well, sometime along that trip of life, you decided that it was going to be conscious. What you were going to react to was conscious. The forehead is still there, the originality, the imagination, the interest, the concentration, the intuition, and as we move backward toward the rear of your skull, the telepathy of the child. But now it's focused on not feeling, it is focused on facts, information, because you're older. And now you are dealing with an awareness of yourself, which the little baby does not have, not in detail, which is wonderful. You'll also notice that Miss Fawn has a nose that is not the nose of the baby, although it's more like it than mine is, or than Kathy's is. These are changes which are programmed into growing up. It's programmed with your DNA. But the DNA is so wonderful because it knows your future. It knows that you are going to be losing your baby forehead. It knows that you are going to be not so much focused on conscious associational thinking as in emotional reaction. It knows that, and it also knows about sexuality. That's in your DNA. Your DNA does come from mommy and daddy, but it's not limited to mommy and daddy. It could come from anywhere, through mommy, through daddy, anywhere on your genetic time track. Not just your grandparents, but their grandparents, their great-grandparents. Where does it come from? It comes from someone who actually lived in your historic past. And that's true for all of us. We represent not just our own lives, but we represent all of our ancestors, all of them. It's all happening right now. Understanding something more about yourself than you know right now is honoring the ancestors, as well as mommy and daddy, and as well as your past. In the Christian Bible, one of the major demands is, honor thy father and thy mother. Okay, folks, that's good. Yeah, honor them because they gave you the form that began you from conception and guaranteed automatic changes throughout your structure and function during your life. Honor your ancestors. And you don't know really who they are. You don't know how far back your little brain is remembering how many thousands of years, how many hundreds of years, how many hundreds of generations. You're you right now, but I, me, myself, my identity comes from a long genetic line, and each one of us, by empowering ourselves to create a positive possible future, is doing what generations past have wanted to do and did or didn't do during their own lifetime. Actually, from a DNA point of view, nobody really dies. If their DNA continues to go on through future generations, well, think about it, and you'll hear more about it. What if everyone who is on your past track is alive in you, and that you have the opportunity to transform their struggles in life, their fears, their pain, their suffering, their hopes, their desires, their purpose as individuals. And we all have that opportunity. As we get better, all of the people on our genetic track get better also. And their influence is still working away in our memory cells. So, ... all of that's very interesting and probably true. So wouldn't it be wonderful if you understood for yourself what your structure meant and means in your life today, and how, as a little child, how as an adolescent, how as the person you are right now, you could do it better and more easily. So, in this series, you'll be knowing more about your structure function. You'll be knowing more about your emotional time track as you go from the present, either into the past or into the future that you want to create. And you will have very specific things that you can do to bridge your stress in the moment in order to function most effectively as the yourself you have become. Your me is always there, the incredible power of the little child to learn, to adapt, to become. The incredible value of the sex role information which you're going to be dealing with, we all got to deal with as adolescents. What did the structural changes mean? And they mean something in each of our three bodies, our baby, our adolescent, and our right now in the mirror self, are telling you something, telling us something about how to create the oneness that we want, as opposed to the separation which we do not desire.